All right, Ronan MMA, welcome back to the channel. Dude, I am here to call out this unbelievable treachery from the UFC, this treason, one might say, okay? And it is driving me up the wall. I am calling on the MMA fan base to please put pressure on the UFC in their comment sections, wherever, to stop this. We need to put an end to women's main events. I'm sorry, dude, we just do, okay? UFC 303 just passed. By the way, that card was thrown together at the very last second. It was not an overly stacked card. Now, it was a decent pay-per-view, but it was not overly stacked, okay? We have a 2-week break period in between then and now, right? And you might think, well, they must have a juicy fight night waiting for us upon our return. Nope. They've got Rose Namajunas and Tracy Cortez for 5 rounds. And by the way, dude, this is in an arena. People have to pay for tickets, overpriced tickets, to go see this. I understand Rose Namajunas trains out of there and all this stuff, but what the... Dude, what are we talking about here? And what do we have the week after that? Amanda Lemos and Virna Jandiroba. Are you kidding me right now? How in any world is this main event worthy whatsoever? Now look, dude, I've talked about this on a number of occasions. Oftentimes I'll use an analogy. When we get a women's fight in the middle of a main card, oftentimes it ruins the mood. It's a buzzkill. It just is, okay? I'll say, what other sport forces their fan base to watch the women's version of that sport? There isn't one, right? Imagine watching an NBA game and at halftime, you've got to watch a WNBA game, right? It wouldn't happen. And it would be horrible if it did, okay? This is even worse than that, dude. That's bad enough. Having Mayra Bueno Silva and Macy Chasson on the main card of a pay-per-view, as opposed to Andre Fili and Cub Swanson or Peyton Talbot or any of these guys, is insulting enough as it is, okay? Imagine now watching 3/4 of an NBA game and then in the 4th quarter they go, you know what, dude? Watch the women's play for a little bit. Go watch Caitlin Clark or whatever for the last quarter. Get out of here, dude. This is not... Dude, when you look up statistics, okay, demographic breakdowns of the UFC fan base, they, I believe, are very generous. Now, they say avid viewers is about, 70-something% to 20-something% male to female. I think that's being generous. If we're talking about hardcore fans that watch every fight night, I bet you it's closer to 95-5, 90-10, if that, dude. I might be being too generous, okay? Why in the world are we being forced to watch a subpar version of the sport? I'm sorry if you think that that is sexist or rude or whatever. It is a fact. The women's skill level is not on par with the men's. This is just true, okay? You cannot name me 5 absolute banger women's fight without doing a bunch of research. Most of the time people jump to Joanna and Wei Li, which happened a long time ago, okay? This needs to stop, dude. We pay good money for Fight Pass. We pay good money for ESPN+. People pay good money for tickets. What are we doing here, dude? Also, I might be inclined to give them a bit of grace if we were getting stacked cards on a regular basis, okay? But the fact is that we have not had an overly stacked card since UFC 300, which was in April, okay? And we paid for that with UFC 301. We were still feeling the repercussions of that at UFC 302, and 303 got some last-minute changes that made it a little bit more stacked than it was previously, okay? How is it that we are in July, right? UFC 300 was in April. May, June, July. How are we 3 months removed from an event and still getting this bullshit? It's unbelievable to me. Why do we need Rose Namajunas and Tracy Cortez? I understand it was supposed to be Macy Barber. You know what, dude? That's not much better, all right? Amanda Lemos, Virna Jandiroba, that is a dog shit main event. It just fucking is, okay? You can be upset with me all you want. This is true. You might not admit it. You know deep down in your heart this is true. This is a horrible main event. Back-to-back women's main events before a pay-per-view. We've got to wait almost an entire month before the next good card, okay? This is unbelievable. It's treachery. It's treason, as I said. Also, dude, something else I want to just briefly bring up because this was an insane level of disrespect. Okay, Michelle Waterson, dude. This woman had probably a losing record in the UFC. Let me just look that up real quickly, what Michelle Waterson's record actually was in the UFC, okay? Because Michelle Waterson just got a very nice send-off, a very nice retirement package, okay, on the same card as Andrei Arlovsky. And Andrei Arlovsky did not get one. Okay, she went 2-0, 2-2. Okay, 5-2, 5-4, 6-4, 6-5, 6-6, 6-7, 6-8, 6-9. A 6-9 record Michelle Waterson had in the UFC. 6-9. 6-9. Can you name me a single man with a 6-9 record that got 4 main events, that got to co-main event behind title shots of the likes of Demetrius Johnson? Can you name me a single one? Someone with a losing record in the UFC that gets as much praise as Michelle Waterson got upon her retirement. Meanwhile, we have an actual former heavyweight champion and Andrei Arlovsky on the same card get fucking nothing. Okay? This is insane, dude. The fan base, vast majority are men. This is a fact. This is the only sport on the face of the planet where we are forced to watch their fights, or forced to watch the fights of the opposite gender. No other sport does this, okay? We pay a ton of money every year to be a UFC fan. I understand people probably use some perfectly moral, legally, and ethical streaming services, but that's besides the point, okay? The sticker price on a UFC fan base is a shitload, and we're getting this. We're getting this, and fans have to pay for tickets. And look at that, co-main event's not even there anymore. That pulled out. So we got a Santiago Ponzinibbio, Muslim Salikov co-main event. Excuse me, dude? Amanda Lemos and Virna Jandiroba. A main event. Are you kidding me? Listen, I understand the UFC has to put together a lot of events to meet their quota for ESPN. About 40 a year, right? Which doesn't leave them many weeks throughout the year to take breaks, and also might, inflict some scheduling conflicts. But this is bullshit. They can do better than this. I know they can. They could have... Listen, dude. I don't know what else to say. This has been frustrating me for a long time, and it was frustrating me enough when we were getting people like Mayra Bueno Silva, Macy Chasson on the main event, or the main card of a pay-per-view, okay? When there were fighters on below them on the prelims that could have easily filled that spot, that would have not killed the mood. Now, listen, that fight ended up being somewhat entertaining. There was a nasty cut, but the skill level's just not there. You can tell, okay? But this is out of control. 2 back-to-back women's main events that nobody cares about whatsoever. One of them, you gotta buy tickets to. Why are they doing this? 1. 2, they need to stop. Okay? They just do. They just need to stop. We need a petition or some shit, okay? We shouldn't be forced to watch this shit. And if we are going to be forced to watch this shit, keep it on the fucking prelims. Because you want to know what the fact is? If women's MMA separated from men's, it would not exist. It would be completely and totally subsidized by the men, by the revenue that the men's divisions bring in. And the men would probably end up getting paid less for it. The same way the NBA subsidizes the WNBA, okay? And then those entitled bitches want to talk about that they're not paid enough because Steph Curry made $50 million last year or whatever it is. It's unbelievable, okay? Enough. Dude, please like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. See you at the next video. Bye-bye.